Welcome back to the Stovetop. This isn't another coffee review or an amateur bartending video. This is actually a speaking Squibbish that was inspired by somebody who I think was trying to troll one of my videos. I'm not really too sure. You see, I saw a comment, and for those who don't make videos, in the YouTube studio, sometimes you can read comments that you can't read on your YouTube page. I don't know why it's a YouTube thing. Sometimes those comments, if they're really lengthy, they get cut off and you can't read the whole comment. And sometimes the comments will disappear after so many days. It's not always easy to track down the person's channel to go see what their channel is about or something like that, because a lot of people have no videos. And if you have no videos, YouTube, you can scroll through page after page after page of that name and get dozens and dozens of channels and still not find that avatar, find that channel to see what they do. Sometimes you're not in a position to respond. And it's just a YouTube thing. YouTube is a free service, so they do what they want to include blocking, editing, removing comments, or putting them in different places to make it difficult for us to read and respond to every comment, even positive comments. So I had done a video, one of the videos I did on the Stovetop here, and they made some negative comments, what little bit I could read before it was deleted. And it was, this stovetop is filthy, it's nasty, and how can you shoot videos there? It looks like crap and all this. So I'm not making this video to defend myself, although from time to time I will explain myself. I will defend myself. And I think YouTube is a great platform for us to be able to do that, because when you do things like that, you communicate, you build an understanding. I'm not saying you're going to get somebody to agree with you or apologize or something else like that, but it's a great platform for us to be able to exchange ideas, exchange experiences, and just communicate, right? This isn't me defending myself. The comments inspired me to go ahead and do a speaking Squibbish about the stovetop. Why do I use the stovetop? Why do I use this stovetop? So, I guess I should start with the fact that I live in a small house and it has a small kitchen. Counter space is limited here in the kitchen. There's stuff on the counters everywhere, but we make it work. If I want to shoot a video in the kitchen on part of the counter anywhere in here, I've got to move everything off, whereas the stove pretty much always has nothing on it, right? The other thing is the light is directly above. So the best lighting in here is at the stove. Anywhere else, lighting is not as good. Now over that way, there's a door, it's got a window in it. Even with the shades down, sometimes I'll get glare in this way and it will affect the video. It'll definitely affect taking a picture for a thumbnail. But this is still, out of all the areas in the kitchen, this is the best area to shoot a video for several reasons. The real disadvantage I have is that on a nice day like today, if I want to open the windows, even the windows in the living room on the other side of the downstairs, noise will come in from the road, noise will come in from the airport, noise will come in from all over, and sometimes the camera will pick that noise up, even though it's far away, over the sound of my voice. So, in addition to just talking loud naturally, I talk a little bit louder in here. It might create a little bit of an echo, but I talk a little bit louder to talk over that road noise, right? So I found a way to make this work. Now, why do we have this stove? So here's the story behind the stove. My wife's grandpa, who has since passed away, he was a World War II Navy veteran, and he was in the amphibious Navy, the Gator Navy. So, the whole Navy Marine Corps thing, we got along really well. And my wife loved her grandpa. He was a really good man. And he was an older gentleman who lived alone. He could make, cook things for himself, but he had real basic stuff. For the most part, he went out to eat, and he would much rather have a home-cooked meal. So my wife made it where every Wednesday he came over for a home-cooked meal. She would cook up something extra special for him every Wednesday, and we would all sit at the table and have dinner together as a family. And then after dinner, the kids would go play, and the three of us would just sit at the table and talk. And he had the greatest stories, not just about World War II, but about being a kid growing up in Missouri, or about being a truck driver for decades and whatnot. He had all these really good stories, and he was just so much fun, not just to talk to, but there's so many other things that he did with us and for us. And I mean, the kids loved him, and he loved the kids. And I mean, it was a really good experience. We really do miss him. Well, we were in that house for less than a year when the stove that came with the house went out. It was done. It was cooked. It was done. And he said, come on, let's go. And he took my wife down to ABC Warehouse, which is one of our local appliance stores, and said, pick out any stove you want. So she picked this stove. He bought it, had it delivered, and we didn't miss a beat. We did not miss the Wednesday meal that week. A lot of good meals have been cooked in the oven and on the stove at that house. When we moved to this house, we brought it with us. We weren't leaving it there, not just because it was newer, but because he bought it for her. And we brought it with us here to this house, and we've had it since. So this thing is over 15 years old, and it's seen a lot of use. The handle here for the oven door would come loose every so often. I just tighten down the screws. After years and years of it, I eventually had to replace the handle. Not a whole lot of expense there, but it's something that happened with it. We destroy bake elements. I've actually got a video on how to replace the bake element in this, just to show people how inexpensive the part is and how easy it is. Anybody can do this, and you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. And even though not all bake elements are the identical one to this, the process is about the same. So I did that as kind of a do-it-yourself kind of video. The light inside the oven, sometimes it doesn't work. It makes you think that the bulb is out. But if you go in there and you jiggle the socket around, it'll work. And then it'll go out again for a while. And then you go in there and jiggle around, it'll work, right? This light up here that says hot surface. The surface is not hot. A few months ago, this started happening where this stovetop was used yesterday and the light is still on. It'll stay on for days before it goes out sometimes. And then it'll go back to normal where it goes out in a normal amount of time. So these are things on the stove that are wearing out. You can see this is the burner we use the most, right? I mean, you can see how the stove is used. And it's older. On the backside here, there's this film on here. I don't know what it is. I've tried cleaning off with all kinds of different things. We do clean this on a regular basis. All right, but this film does not come off. I tried using something more aggressive and ended up scratching the finish and said, forget it, I'm leaving it. So the stove may not look the best, but her grandpa bought her this stove, and if it's still working, and the condition doesn't get much worse, or I'm able to fix things like this light or things like that, able to maintain it, I'd like to take it with us when we move out west in a few years. Even if I just keep it in the garage as something next to maybe a countertop where I butcher wild game or whatnot, I would like to keep this stove because it's sentimental, because he got it for her, and it might sound corny to you. It might really sound corny, but it means something to us. He was a good man, and that's why I shoot videos here. That's why we have it. That's why it looks the way it looks, and that's just a little bit of our life, a little bit of our story, a little bit of my explanation of why things are the way they are with me. Thanks for watching.